This is from the Anguttara Nikaya, Book of Sixes, verse 13. It's called The Elements of Escape. So I'll just read the first one. Bhikkhus, there are these 6 elements of escape. What 6? So just the first one. Take a bhikkhu who says, I have frequently practiced and developed a liberated mind through non-ill will, or metta. I've cultivated it, made it my vehicle and my basis, kept it up, consolidated it, and properly implemented it. Yet somehow, ill will still occupies my mind. That bhikkhu should be told,
it's impossible.
Not so, Venerable, don't say that. Don't misrepresent the Buddha, for misrepresentation of the Buddha is not good. And the Buddha would not say that. It is impossible. It cannot happen that the mind liberated through non-ill will or metta, which has been developed, would still be occupied by ill will. For it is the mind that is liberated through non-ill will that is the escape from ill will.
Yeah, that's exactly the same principle of when we said many times before, like, oh, I don't know what the Dhamma is, as in I'm not a Sotapanna, but I'm practicing the Dhamma. How's that possible? No, metta means non-ill will. So if you're practicing metta, ill will cannot be arising.
So it means I cannot do metta if I'm not free from ill will.
No, means don't think you're doing metta. You should keep trying to do metta, but don't think that's the metta for as long as you're having ill will. You should be trying to practice the Dhamma, but don't think that's the Dhamma for as long as you're not a Sotapanna. That's the whole point. And that's exactly, because people will think, oh, so I shouldn't do this. No, do it, just don't think that it is what it isn't.
Yeah. So because if I think I'm doing the metta, that's good enough.
You're not going to make effort to find out what the real metta is that would prevent ill will from arising.
Because if you read what 1 moment of metta practice is like, vast amounts of merit. So I practice metta. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I'm already set.
So
but I practice metta. But is my mind like? Do I know the non-arisen ill will? Can I maintain the mind? Can I prevent ill will from arising? Do I see like, oh, my mind is free from ill will now, but can ill will arise? Oh, I don't know. Yes, you can. If you don't know, means you can. Same like the way we say, not just that you're restrained, withdrawn from sensuality, you have to keep the context over your mind whereby, oh, can non-arisen sensuality arise in different circumstances? As in, am I still liable to sensuality? If the answer is yes, means you're not practicing fully, rightly, correctly. You haven't understood the escape from it. So how can you say, I am practicing the escape of sensuality, but I don't really know what the escape of sensuality is? So I am practicing free from ill will, but mind throughout that time remains liable to future ill will, means you're still within the domain of ill will.
But that's a good thing to know.
Exactly. So the problem is not in what you're doing in terms of attempting your practice, or the problem is not solely based on that. The problem is simply you thinking that it is the metta, that it is full freedom from sensuality even momentarily. Because to that extent you won't search for what real metta is, and to that extent you will block your own development.
You won't be striving further.
You won't be striving further.
You think,
And people would be usually too keen to jump on, oh yeah, this is the Dhamma, although I'm not a Sotapanna. Oh yes, this is metta, although I am liable to future ill will from arising.
The only reason I'm practicing metta is because I'm angry.
Well, they would jump onto that because it's very kind of uncomfortable. To keep maintaining the notion that there is more, this is not enough, this is not enough, this is not enough. So then you just, oh, but this is enough. Because look, my life's much better now. Yeah, but are you liable to future ill will? Yes, means it's not the method that the Buddha was teaching that results in enlightenment.
It's not enough.
Because if it were, you would have been enlightened by now. But if you haven't given into that, just that little, oh, but it's enough, this is the metta, it's good enough metta, as in it partakes to that which metta actually is. If you haven't given up just because of that discomfort, you would have actually effortlessly forced yourself in the direction of progress, in the direction of development, simply by not covering up the obvious truth. I can't practice the Dhamma unless I know what the Dhamma is for myself, free from doubt.
So it's good to err on the side of, well, maybe this is not
always,
the exact
always, because there's nothing to lose.
Let
it's
me
a
just
win-win.
push harder. Let me look deeper into the matter.
Yeah, and you revise that by, okay, this is metta for me at the moment, but is that the metta that the Buddha said metta is? Then you read what the Buddha said metta is, what results in, to what extent it goes, and then you compare to where you are at. So, am I liable to future ill will? Yes. Means this what I have. So nobody denies what you have. Feels good. It's probably useful to some extent, but just don't think that it is what the Buddha was talking about. Because if it were, you would be enlightened. You would be liberated, as that line said. But if you say it is what the Buddha said, but I'm not liberated, you're misrepresenting the Buddha. Erring on the side of caution doesn't mean perpetually keeping yourself in a state of doubt because I'm not certain about anything. It means recognizing what certainty you have and then questioning that certainty further until you're more certain about it. Because sometimes people are, okay, so I mustn't jump into conclusions, so I will not discriminate anything I come across. Well, this might be fine, well, this might be fine, well, that might be fine. This works for me, that will. No. Universal truth, the Dhamma, is the universal truth, which means it's true in every scenario for every individual. Freedom from suffering is always freedom from suffering. So it's not about not committing to any direction, because that's already the direction itself you committed. Oh, I will not commit to any direction. But it's more like recognizing, as I said, what you already know, what you're already doing, and just not taking it for granted and questioning it further. That same thing. Not dismissing it or oh, I will not commit to it because maybe it's wrong. Yeah, everything is wrong for a Puthujjana. You have to commit to something. So the problem is not committing to a wrong thing. The problem is committing to a wrong thing and then not questioning the wrongness of it or abandoning the commitment to it.
So I've understood metta practice as one thing, but how is this and how will it free me from being liable to ill will?
Exactly.
How does that...
And instead of now reading what metta is for you into the suttas, you want to do the other way around.
And you shouldn't be afraid of questioning your practice, because that which is right
cannot
be undermined.
Being afraid is not a matter of choice. You will be afraid. So you shouldn't be afraid. Yeah, you shouldn't, but you will be afraid because you're undermining the very basis. And that's exactly what I meant. That's why people don't do it. And it's good enough because just that slight undermining reveals that underlying anxiety that you might be wrong and all of your efforts might have been completely misguided. But then if you actually don't give in to that fear that will have to arise on account of questioning the very core of your whole commitment and everything, you will realize that actually no, this is why I'm liable to fear and everything else, because I haven't been questioning this. So even if you practiced 30 years of your practice wrongly, the true reason why that practice was wrong is because you never questioned that core of it. But the day you start questioning the core of it, even if it's after 30 years of wrong practice, everything will be made right.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Testing yourself, testing your understanding. Remember that sutta that says that the Buddha says I treat monks like a clay, like a potter treats these pots.
Now you just have to define the testing though. Testing does not mean exposing yourself to the circumstances that will compromise your precepts or your seclusion, or I need to test myself. No, testing means reviewing your mind. So, I've established my mind in metta and I'm practicing metta. Okay, now question whether that is metta. Don't just take it for granted and then do this metta you're practicing, but instead question whether that is metta that you're practicing. So it's that first point. You read the sutta, you hear the teaching, you get the idea, and then you start doing things on account of the idea without questioning the idea. Then you have the other group of people who now realize they need to question the idea, so they stop doing the idea because they're not sure about the idea. No, you want to do the idea you got, you recognize that is the level that is the extent you got from it, you want to do it, but at the same time, you want to keep the context that that idea might change, might be wrong, and might need further development.
Right.
And then you will remain in the middle. You will not be blindsided by your own refusal to question it because it's uncomfortable and reveals the anxiety on account of that which you invested effort in already. Nor will you go to that extreme and then not commit to anything because you're not sure about anything. Like you're already committing to
So
that.
you start somewhere. I must only do good things. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I
you
just do
start
good
doing
things.
good things, you start keeping the precept, and then the idea behind that, you start questioning it while still keeping the precepts. So you're not, oh, I need to change. No. This is not questionable. This is not up for debate. Precepts must be kept, sense restraint must be developed. I don't understand why. Oh, so that's the idea I need to work on while I maintain these practices. That's what the testing of yourself is.
Yeah, you shouldn't be afraid of that testing because it can only upgrading is not.
Yeah, you will be afraid.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
yeah.
Well, that you shouldn't be.
No, that's exactly why people don't do it, because of fear.
Yeah.
And it's not, that's what I mean, it's not a matter of choice. The anxiety is unpleasant, and that's why you don't question it. So you will be afraid, and that's what the practice is. To accept that anxiety, that concern, that unease about basically, like, shaking up, moving around, seeing what's going to fall out and break on account of your own very core of your views and values, without doing the opposite of those cores and values. That's why the precepts, the behavior that has been following the precepts and sense restraint needs to be developed beforehand. Because once you start sort of sieving through these values and revisiting them, that behavior is already as a habit established. The behavior of 5 precepts, 8 precepts, things you don't do.
Right.
But if you start questioning the values of the precepts before you started keeping the precepts, you will be left and right. You're not going to be keeping anything. It's going to be say no to everything and say yes to everything, just as the mind flips.
Right.
So that's why you need to first sustain yourself in the lifestyle of precepts, sense restraint, and then these layers of development will become more apparent. So you can start questioning the values of it without needing to go and do the opposite of that precept. Because the precept is not up for question. It's your value of it. So keeping the precepts is the behavior that must be maintained. Why? That's now for you to discern. But once people start questioning, why do I need, so I don't need to, and then go and break the precepts.
That's not the start.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a good start.
So same, like whether it's metta practice, free from ill will, all of that requires you to, so I'm not engaging with ill will, but if that were the practice of metta, I would be free from future ill will. I would not be liable to ill will. I would be outside of the domain of the possibility of ill will manifesting in my experience. But I'm not there, which means my practice is the level I am at, but that's not the metta that should be developed, because the metta that the Buddha said should be developed is the one that frees you from ill will, through and through. And that's all you need to do. Keep practicing at that level, just don't conflate the two, because conflating will be done on account of that fear and anxiety of questioning that your metta might not be the metta that the Buddha talks about. Or when people say you can be an arahant and still engage with sensuality.
Right, yeah,
It's the same thing. Impossible. And again, those people will not do it because they're malicious and intentionally want to misrepresent the Buddha. No, they just genuinely believe that the level they're at, because it feels right for them, and that's their criteria, not the criteria that the Buddha said should be, such as freedom from suffering, freedom from liability to lust, ill will, distraction. Right. No, it just feels right. I'm practicing rightly, and at the same time I am engaging with sensuality, so my experience is the criteria of what's right. So they make a statement such as, you can practice for arahantship and not be free from sensuality on account of doing the Buddha's practice. It's like, well, wait, is it your criteria or the Buddha's criteria? Then you read the Buddha's criteria, and he said the opposite of what you're claiming. You can't engage with sensuality and practice for arahantship at the same time, mutually exclusive. Yeah. So you can either ignore that or not read the suttas and claim you're practicing the Buddha's teaching, and then just follow your own criteria of the ignorant mind, the mind that shies away from that anxiety of questioning and like by the mind that basically, when undermines the value, undermines the behavior of the value. So then just flip-flops between the precepts and non-precepts.